Good evening, and thank you all for attending. I'll make this as brief as possible so that we can get on with the important part, which is your questions. For anybody that don't know me, my name is Vince Smith. I think it says it here. And I represent the voters in Division 5 for the Big Bear Municipal Water District. District 5 includes the areas of Lake Williams, Baldwin Lake, Irwin Lake, and a portion of Big Bear City. My wife and I have owned Riefenberg Lumber for the past 15 years, and I have made Big Bear my home for well over 30 years. I think that fact is important in that it gives me the insight to certainly understand how a healthy and full lake impacts the economic situation of our valley and our total well-being. Our board collectively with staff has been able to cut costs at the district and still maintain smooth and safe operation. I am the incumbent and would very much like to continue the work and efforts of both this board and staff. I feel my time on the board has helped promote the mission of the district, which of course is to maintain the lake level and stabilize it. And moreover, to make Big Bear, our lake, the best destination for recreation for both our residents as well as our visitors. So thank you.
Thanks, Vance. Joseph, you ready? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Chamber and Lighthouse for sponsoring this, and Community Church for hosting the event tonight. And thank you all for coming. As introduction, my name is Joseph Kelly, and I'm running for a few boards, as you may know. I'm running to create additional interest and participation in our local government activities. And we're all doing part of that here by asking questions and answering questions, putting ourselves forward. I want to say good luck to Vince.
Thank you.
We're just a couple of guys here. I won't speak for him, but I'm not a professional speaker, and I have never done this before except for the few forums at the here in the Valley this election. So I may be a little nervous, and I may rely on humor sometimes when I'm nervous, like putting my name on a life vest. A recent lake management meeting, the Coast Guard Auxiliary reminded us to wear our life vests. So please wear your life vests on the lake. Yours doesn't have to say Kelly, Kelly on it, but it's okay if it does, especially before the election. I bought this at Riefenberg's, $500. So that's a little about me and what I want to do. I'm running not because I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Vince. I'm just running because if I wasn't running, there wouldn't even be an election. We're the only candidates, and there would not be an election if I didn't enter. And the other seat on the board, there's no election. It's unopposed. So I'm running to give the citizen voters a chance to vote.
Thank you. As Brent indicated, we'll be alternating the questions. The first question will go to Vince. He'll have the first chance to answer that, and then Joseph will have the second chance. Each candidate has been provided with the California Code of Fair Campaign Practices statement for the candidate to voluntarily sign. This statement says that you will conduct yourself and your campaign in an honest manner without negative attacks on any candidate. The first part of the question is, have you signed this statement? Second of all, if not, will you sign it now? And if not, why not? Vince?
We'll make this one short. Yes, I signed it already at the registrars of voters, and there's no problem with any of that with me.
Joseph?
I signed it here tonight. I didn't sign it at the registrar of voters. It was presented, but I was a little busy on the last day of filing papers in the evening there. It was getting down to the wire, and I had 5 packets to sign. So we did all of the other required stuff, but I'm happy to abide by this.
Great, thank you. Okay, Joseph, here's question number 2. What are your thoughts on the benefits of dredging and other restoration activities, and how should these be funded?
The lake is something that we all love, and we can all take pride in it. Dredging, if there's dredging needs to be done, that's great. Several years ago, during our drought, when our lake levels were down, I personally thought it would have been better to have trucks go in instead of dredging when the water came back up on the east end of the lake. But apparently it worked fine. As long as we do dredging ecologically sound manner, that's great. And improvements to the lake are wonderful. As far as funding it, it has a certain tax base and it has a certain fee base. I would like to see that no taxes are increased, and that we operate with common sense and in a cost-benefit analysis on everything that's done. That something is done for the right reason and that it has a good benefit for the community, for the lake users and the district.
Great. Vance, go ahead.
Well, as Joseph said, from the average person's viewpoint, it certainly would have made a little more sense to be able to dredge the east ramp when the lake level was down. Unfortunately, when you talk about dredging in our lake, any water body in Southern California, or for that matter anywhere in California, the permits and the red tape that goes along with it always don't fit Mother Nature's schedule. As far as dredging itself, dredging is a good thing for the lake. It removes a lot of nutrients that is built up in the bottom of the lake. But the problem with it is, as you said, and just about every board that's represented in the valley has went through the same problem as far as for funding. Dredging is not an inexpensive method, and right now, given the economic situation and no grants available, I would say that's not in the immediate future.
Thank you very much. In this particular campaign, it's pretty obvious. Those of you sitting here are going to have to make a choice between one of these two gentlemen. So the next question is, looking at the other candidate, this one will go to Vince first. Looking at the other candidates that you are running, or candidate that you are running against, if elected, what would you bring to the board that would be different than they might bring to the position?
Well, my real reason for running for the board initially was to, with my background in construction, I feel that I was beneficial to the district, which in turn is the taxpayers, in the restoration of the east ramp with the renovation of the building. Also, when we were left with what was left of the dam after the road was removed, again, some construction knowledge I think has helped and will continue to be needed as far as securing our dam for security purposes as well as safety. So that's where I think I'm coming from.
Joseph? Again, as one of the main reasons I'm running is to participate and put myself forward and let you decide as voters and citizens and taxpayers. And as a taxpayer, I'm very concerned about the costs and that we keep taxes low, which is good for business. And this valley depends a great deal on the lake, and we wouldn't even have skiing if we didn't have the lake. we wouldn't have water for the skiing to make snow without the lake, and it's a big factor. And one of the things that I would like to look at is we are facing increases in state and federal regulations about water, and this is something that really concerns me. I don't think anybody in Sacramento or Washington loves Big Bear Lake more than we do, and we know how to take care of it and what to do, and we can do that in a constitutional way with the public participating, keep you informed, and do everything openly with a mind towards keeping the costs low. And I'm a boater and a fishing person, and enjoy the lake myself.
Great. Thank you, Joseph. So since you just finished there, you get the next question. What are your ideas for improving the management of the lake level, and overall water quality? You want me to repeat that?
No, I got it. Thank you. As far as the lake level, we're dependent on nature on that, mostly from our rain and snowpack. That's very seasonal. We can't determine when there's a drought and when there's not a drought. The amount of water that goes over the spillway or that's released, we have obligations about that, and there's not much that can be done about that. As far as the level, when we get a lot of precipitation, we have a higher level, and that's great. Of course, if the lake were deeper, it's a man-made lake, and it's a very shallow lake, only about 75 feet at its deepest. If it were deeper, I don't know if that can be done by dredging. There'll be a lot of permits involved. That's something to look into. And as far as quality of the water, the algae bloom, the yearly algae bloom, and the algae count and weeds, we have to look at them not as a problem, but as something that we can take advantage of. Algae and the weeds that grow actually clean the water. And when we remove the algae and the weeds, we're taking the pollutants out. And with algae, we might also be able to make biodiesel fuel, and that could help the funding of the lake.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Joseph. Vince, you want me to repeat the question?
No, I think I've got it. First of all, as Joseph said, unfortunately our lake doesn't have influx other than what comes out of the sky. So trying to manage or increase the volume of water is really not in anyone's hands. But I'd like to touch on the weed thing for a second. We go under this premise that if it looks like a duck and acts like a duck and walks like a duck, it probably is a duck. And the same with weeds. If it looks like a weed and it grows like a weed, it's probably a weed. But unfortunately, we have two different types of weeds in our lake. Number one is the invasive species, which is, of course, as we all know, the Eurasian milfoil, which the district right now is spending somewhere between $125,000 and $130,000 per season to keep that in check. The other weeds we harvest, but we have some restrictions on that, in that Fish and Game and the Santa Ana Clearwater agencies have restrictions as far as what we can do as far as harvesting for the fish habitat. So I knew the weeds would come up sooner or later. Hopefully that's an explanation.
Thank you, Ms. This is going to be the final of our prepared questions, so once again, if there are questions that you would like answered, if you would write them on a card, put those cards up, either Marlene or Michael will pick those up. The final question first. Public employees' pension reform is a critical issue for the future solvency of our districts, of city, county, and of the state. What measures would you take to assure that the MWD avoids excessive pension costs and possible insolvency?
Well, that's an issue that every board and every city is facing with right now. Fortunately, we have been proactive in most everything we've done, this included. As far back as almost 90 days ago, we already initiated a plan to increase the age limit as far as for full retirement. So we've already instituted basically a tier 2 retirement for any new hires from this point forward. So we actually are aware of those situations. We know of our budget. We're very much trying to run our district as a business, and you just can't continue to make those retirement deals the way they were once established. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Joseph?
Eurasian milfoil weed?
Yeah.
Okay. We all know from the news, it's a big topic right now about retirement benefits. It's an enormous cost, and it has to be looked at. We all want to take care of our families. We all want to have those benefits. We all want to have a future assured, but we have to do it with common sense. And we don't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. And if we spend too much on those costs, we go underwater in a fiscal sense. And right now is not a good time. We're in a bad economy, as we all know. So we have to look at costs, and these are costs that go out into the future, an entire generation. And we have to make common sense decisions, and we have to draw the line. And we've all tightened our belts, and we just have to look at it with common sense. We can all benefit, and we can provide jobs and a strong economy with the lake, but we can't go overboard with, here it is again, unintended pun, going overboard. We can't go overboard with the costs on retirement benefits. Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. I think we're doing okay on time, so we're gonna add one question from the audience. It's probably a collection of several of your thoughts. So here we go. If elected, what is the one most important thing you would like to see the MWD accomplish? The one most important. Joseph.
I would like to see a doubling of public participation. It's great that we're all here tonight. It would be even greater if all of these seats were full and there was standing room. We have a beautiful lake, and it is an enormous part of our economy here in the valley. So is the airport. And someone who can realize this and draw some attention, use a little marketing, get more attention for Big Bear, that loves Big Bear. We all love Big Bear. There's no question about that. But somebody using common sense, a bit of ingenuity. I would like to see more events up here, more revenue coming into the valley. The lake is great, and it's a great draw, and I think we can exploit it to bring more revenue, more people, more notoriety. California has a lot of problems about taxes and permits and fees, and has driven our television and movie industry out of the state completely. And I wish we could bring it back here. Big Bear used to be a mecca for movies and television. I worked in the television business and alongside the movie business, and I would like to see it come back. A little marketing. We're going to be on YouTube. We're doing video. We can bring more here.
Thank you. Okay, Vince, you want me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
If elected, what is the one most important thing you would like to accomplish?
Well, obviously I am the incumbent, so if there was anything that I thought was pertinent, I would have probably already been on it. So I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot, but I would say that from an MWD standpoint, working with our partners, whether it be the marinas or as Joseph said, events coming to the area. That is a relationship with the district and the marinas and the district and events that is an area that we just need to continue to look at and see how we can help each other.
Thank you both. We'll now begin our closing statements. Joseph, you'll have the first opportunity to make a closing statement, followed by Vince.
Thank you. Again, I'm a amateur at this. I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. I just want to participate as a citizen, voter, taxpayer, community member. That's something we all are. I want to keep the community informed what's going on. I want to hold costs down. I don't want to see more taxes raised, increased. I think we can do it with common sense instead of more money. We use our money better. The money that we have, use it better, and a little ingenuity. And wear your life vests on the lake. I recommend a life vest like this. It can be a different size, but if it says Kelly, Kelly on it, that's good. A little more, I love that joke there.
I got it.
This really killed over at CSD. They although Bob, he disagrees with me. I would just like a chance to get in there and get some attention. I think we can get a lot more attention here. Get our lake to a point where it's being spoken of everywhere that it could be. And bring that movie and television industry back here. I mean, we're up against state and fees and permits and everything, but I think there's a lot could be done with bringing that industry back. And we have things coming up in the future that we don't know about. We don't know all the answers. We don't even have all the questions. So someone that can be a little someone that can think ahead of the curve. I'd like to have that chance and try to think for you about that.
Thank you. Vince, you got the last one.
Okay. All joking aside, I take both this job and this election very serious. I take it serious because I'm so very, very aware of the importance of how the lake plays into the total economy of this valley. As the incumbent, I seek your continued support and your vote. And please remember when you vote, experience and fiscal responsibility does count. Thank you.
Well, thank you both, and thanks to the audience. That concludes our first session.